Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to today's episode where we're going to be discussing this fire horse year ahead. Now, before we get into how we can utilize the energy of this year and things that we can be mindful of to truly expand our capacity and be able to be effective in using this energy, I want to preface by explaining what the fire horse energy represents. How is this even a theory or a thought process? What does it mean in the world if you have no idea? So on February 17th begins the Lunar New Year in the Chinese culture. And the reason why I chose to speak about this today and why this aligns with me is because I have been feeling connected to the energy of what this represents. We just closed out the cycle right before the fire horse of the snake. And I'm sure for many people, we've seen how in our own lives, in the collective, there has been so much shedding and releasing. And when you think about a snake shedding its skin, it is preparing for its rebirth, for this new expression of itself. When we also dive into what the Lunar New Year represents, right? And why does it start at February 17th as opposed to January 1st? In the Chinese culture, they follow the agrarian cultures, which was cultures that were based on how agriculture has shaped the economy, lifestyle, and consciousness around how to run a society. So these agrarian perspectives basically came to life because in these cultures like China, Egypt, Mesopotamia, they followed how nature responded to the crops, right? In certain seasons, there were seasons for growth. In certain seasons, there were seasons of dying. And we can see this through biblical scripture, in ancient texts, in the wisdom of nature, that these cycles are always communicating. You also might notice that during this time, there are a lot of spiritual expansions that take place, right? We have Ramadan, we have the season of Lent that's being prepared. And all of these seasons are usually a time to prepare, right? To make room for growth, for expansion. So I wanted to preface that because this way of thinking has deeply transformed the way that I experience reality and the way I look at my life and things that I consider. Also, a few years ago, I went to Mexico. In this particular time, I was at a cacao ceremony, and at the cacao ceremony, the woman was sharing wisdom teachings with us. And one of the things she spoke about was the perspective of the animals and the creatures around us. And in many traditions, they honor all beings on the planet as sacred, but not only as sacred, as wisdom keepers. So in the native traditions, in the indigenous traditions, they look at animals as totems. And totems represent symbolism. And we can look at animals in the world and they all have different strategies for how they are successful in their pursuits, in how they work with what they have in order to be effective. And in particular, when you think about a horse, what do you think about? Right? You can think about speed, forward movement, momentum, acceleration, right? These are some of the things that I think about when I think about a horse. And it also took my thought process into one of the major forms of entertainment have become horse racing. And when you think about how these horses are successful in these horse races, they have to prepare and be so locked in with a clear direction of that endpoint to get to their target and to their goal. And so these are some of the energies that we can embrace as we're moving into this fire horse year of what are the kind of structures that we need to set in place within our own internal creation in order to be effective, in order to catch the rise of this momentum that is building, that the energy of the collective and the cosmos are providing us, right? But structured movement forward. And the reason why I say that is because you can see a horse that's wild and just running in any direction. You will not get to any destination. You create a lot of fragmentation. And so when you think about maybe the horse as a reflection of you, what do you need within yourself to endure the journey ahead that will require you to have stamina? What are the things you can do to cultivate your stamina so you don't burn out? Because you can accelerate really quickly, but not be able to maintain and sustain it if you don't have the endurance, if you don't have the nervous system capacity. We hear a lot of communication around nervous system capacity as a direct relation to how it's creating and responding to reality. So, taking a look at your own inner container. How do we create a container that is so solid, that is so firm, that is so strong, that it can hold big dreams, big purpose, big mission, big unapologetic energy that you show up as in your most authentic self, because the likeness of who you are is big, is grand. So this is a year of bold action, authentic expression, living your truth, being in your purpose. And when we think about these ideas, they sound great, but we have to take a look at what they're actually doing in the world. There was an amazing Disney movie called The Never Ending Story. And I always refer back to this because in that movie, there was the teaching that when this child was pursuing their dream, their goal, their vision, life was expanding, life was evolving, things were growing, things were blooming. But when that child strayed away from the vision, from the dream, from the goal, darkness began to consume and kill the earth. And I think that that was such a great example because it shows us what happens not only within our own world, right? The darkness can make parts of us die, parts of our expression, parts of our truth die. It can affect everything around us. Simultaneously, it can also do the opposite. If we pursue the thing, the vision, the truth, the authentic expression, and we live in integrity with what is most alive inside of us, just imagine how many things benefit from the overflow of your truth, of your who you really are. So in order for us to do that, we have to take a look at where have we learned lies or where have we learned strategies, and these things can be found in your template, your makeup, your programming, right? But not for us to stay there too long, because a lot of the years that we have just come out of, the snake years, this cycle that we just come out of, was to do that inner work to prepare for this massive acceleration. So we can take a look at it, but know that those things are meant to just give us the insight to propel us. Okay, I can understand where my makeup is. I can understand where I've leaked power in the past. Now I understand the cost of that. So we think about endurance. We think about container, the container that holds the energy within us to be a powerful force in the world. With that container, we have to take a look at where we leak energy. So where do you overgive? Where do you overcompensate? Where are you overcompromising? Where are you giving your focus, your attention, your energy to things in your life that don't propel you forward, that don't add, don't contribute? So again, going back to what just happened in the snake year, I saw this as a really big collective pattern where so many people were releasing relationships or releasing dynamics of relationships and how relationships were working and operating in their life that weren't truly serving their most authentic full expression. There was a lot of collapse of things. Maybe you might have noticed a shift in your work, in your job, in the structures that run things. We're also seeing it on a collective level. So many things collapsing, so many things that were like, this cannot continue to operate as a human paradigm because it's not going to support the longevity of the human being as a collective. So looking at all of these things, we can see again where we give our power away, where we leak energy. And if we're thinking about moving forward at an accelerated pace, how do we now set in place boundaries, intentional boundaries? Because in order to have boundless energy, we have to honor the limits that allow the container, which is us, the vessel, to be able to hold boundless energy. by, again, witnessing where our energy is leaking. Another way we can look at where energy is leaking is, where have you started things and not completed it? Now, I'm going to make another video where I'm going to teach you how to close the loop in your brain, in your mind, in your consciousness. Because when you have things open, files open, parts of you are fragmented because it still has that as a frame, as a file, as a baseline that it goes back to, because it's been unresolved. And when we have things that are unresolved within us, they can become blind spots within us. That's exactly why Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. Because these are operation systems that run in the background that can be the cause of what is dissipating our energy. That's cause of what is creating a blockage in your thought process, that's not allowing your energy to flow freely and fully. With that, we can also look at what places we need to forgive, right? Where are we still holding on to things that are, again, leaking energy? Now, I just want to preface this, because this is all inner work, where we've recognized how these patterns have showed up in the past, however long in your life, so that we don't make those mistakes again, so that we create such a powerful internal system that can hold the magnitude of blessings that are coming your way by being the vessel that can hold it. One of the examples that life gave me a few months ago is I was around a family member who has a very extensive business, very successful business. But with this successful business, there's so many different moving parts. And I got to witness and experience and live a day-to-day experience of watching this person run the magnitude of this business and just witnessing the levels that came with success. And what I noticed was, like, for example, this person was holding space, entertaining me as a family member, right? Making room for my presence in their life, while also answering a million phone calls, while also having so many of their workers contacting them, having needs that they needed to get met. Then also watching discomfort, right? Like something happened where one of the workers got injured, and their mechanism that they run the business, one of their trucks, they broke down, which was supposed to deliver their goods. And they had to have the kind of capacity and container to hold all of this discomfort, all of these things going wrong, and still be able to be productive, to be focused and forward moving. So moving with this idea, the next point that I want to bring to life is being decisive. When you are decisive in your energy and you know where you're going and you know which direction you're moving and you stay that path, no matter what, no matter the fluctuations, no matter the tide that is coming in and going out, no matter the slow seasons of it, no matter the moments where it gets boring, where there is no applause, where there is no dopamine that is charging you forward, staying the course no matter what. This will allow you to contain the blessings. We have to stay committed to the end result. I can't collapse here in this moment when things are going wrong. I have to witness it for what it is, and I have to keep things moving forward. So this is going to be a skill, the resilience, the figure-outable energy, that it's always figure-outable. Commit to completion, no matter what. This is the kind of energy that will ride the wave of the momentum that we're going to see happening this year. To continue to be in the flow-based energy that allows strategies, ideas, resources, things that you need to truly accelerate your life this year. The staying power. Along with that, the nervous system capacity, right? We briefly touched on that. And I'm going to go again in other videos, like really thoroughly breaking this down. But recognizing how your nervous system, again, has been programmed to a certain capacity where your edge is, right? It's so important to know where your edge is. Your edge is your baseline, is your floor, is the place that you continue to return to as where your current capacity is. But if we want to accelerate this year, we have to be able to work with that capacity, work with that edge, and go beyond it. So training your capacity. There's so many things that you can do to train your capacity, to train yourself to go beyond your limit. And the more you train yourself to go beyond what your current limit is, and the limit could be a limiting belief. It could be where you feel that's all you have, where you're meeting the edge of your potential, of where you thought your potential lies, and then going beyond it. And you can train yourself. You can do this physically, through exercise, through setting momentous goals, right? To doing things that challenge you. The more you do things that challenge you, the more your brain starts to see, oh, we're actually pretty safe in this new terrain. Oh, it's actually quite normal for me to do things that are uncomfortable. There is a woman, she created the brand Spanx. Her name is Sarah Blakely. And one of the things that she spoke about was how in her childhood, her father, every week, he would sit down at the table with them for dinner and he would ask them, her and her brother, what did you fail at this week? He didn't ask them what they accomplished. He didn't ask them what they did. He asked them what they failed at this week, because he was installing in them this muscle to continue to try, to do things, to explore, to keep moving forward, to be courageous, to be brave. So this is a year that's going to require your courageous bravery. Stepping forward no matter what, and really discovering what you're truly made of. And you will not do it in the comfort zone. You will not get the benefits of this year if you stay where you are, but you're going to get it if you follow that inner voice. You follow the vision, the calling, the goal, the thing that God put inside of you that was designed specifically for you to bring to life. Because when you start to see how bringing this vision to life is so important, not only for your own being, for the ecosystem around you, how it affects the ecosystem around you. When you look at nature, if there is a component, whether you remove an animal or you remove a certain plant, if that plant or that animal was native to that ecosystem and you remove it, you'll start to see how all of these other things start getting affected, and the power and the benefit of that thing being there. You start to see how it being removed starts to cause all these ripple effects and issues. Like, for example, a lot of what's happening in our world right now, we can see that we have completely different new invasive species of things. We're seeing how, because of the way we've worked around nature and caused disruption to nature, we can see how it's affecting on a global scale. But when you look at the minutia of yourself and how your vision and your dream is also meant to do the same thing, it's meant to play a pivotal and important role in the ecosystem around you, in your life, in the lives of the people who get to experience you. So when you step fully, authentically, and boldly in your truth, you are creating this emanation, this vibration, this frequency that supports and benefits all things around you, that evolves and empowers things around you. That's how powerful your vision and your dream is. That's how powerful you taking a stand for what you know is your truth is. So when we look at this horse energy, we want to take a look at all of these different areas that will create the container for steady, momentous stamina and movement forward. So I hope that this video was helpful in giving you an idea of how you can use the energy of this year and really propel your life forward and really make your dreams come true in a bigger way, live in a bigger way, live with more vitality, live with more abundance, live with more overflow, live with more alignment. All of these things are benefited from what we've shared today. So I thank you for tuning in. If there was anything that you took from this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please drop it in the comment, an idea that came to you, something that maybe you want to close out, something that you're setting an intention for to hold this rapid movement this year. Drop it in the comments below. Really want to use this platform to create a community of like minds, of conscious beings, of people who are taking a stand for bold vision, for trailblazers, for people who really want to live full out. So please feel free to use the comment section, share this video, comment, like, let's grow this consciousness expansion. I love you and I thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.